Welcome back. You're watching Investors Guide. A happy Independence Day to you. We're looking at debt and we're talking about funding our freedom from debt. We're answering questions with Gaurav Mashruwala, Adil Shetty, and of course, Dhirendra Kumar, who is in our Delhi studio, answering questions from you about your loans. All right, our next question comes in from Indrajit Singh. He's 32 years old and he writes in from Delhi. He tells us he has an annual income of 10 lakh rupees and his wife has an annual income of 3.25 lakh rupees. Now, he's paying an EMI of 19,000 rupees per month for a home loan of 15 lakhs. He bought this home 2 years ago and he tells us he has been claiming the tax benefits on that loan. Now, he wants to know if it makes sense to buy another house in his wife's name so that she can save tax too on her income, and he wants to know if it makes sense to buy that that home on a joint loan, or should he buy it only in his wife's name. Gaurav, first of all, buying a home just to save on tax, does that make sense?
For that matter, it does not make sense to buy anything just to save tax. I mean, they're two separate things, so don't mix. I mean, tax should be a byproduct. A, because that's not the focus, number one. Number two, in any case, tax laws keep changing. So, over a period of time, if there is tax benefit not coming to you a few years down the line, or then you're in a mess. That's number one. Number two, we are talking about wife in a very low income bracket. So, she's talking about 3.25 lakhs or probably 10% kind of. Now, here, how much are you going to drastically save? I think probably they are better off with whatever income she has and whatever EMI that she's going to put in there. Instead of that, put that EMI in some either a fixed income kind of product or a FD or something, and they'll probably end up earning more, number one. Number two, with his wife's income of 3.25 lakh, I'm sure they can't afford a house, which means he probably could be passing his income to his wife. Now, chances are, I don't know how he'll do that transaction, but chances are income tax might just club that. So, one is clubbing of income tax, second is buying something purely for tax benefit, wife in lower tax bracket. I don't think this entire thing is making sense holistically.
All right, so it doesn't make sense, Indrajit, because like Gaurav said, basically the income tax department might figure that out and then just club the two together and it'll still be part of your income if you move that money into your wife's account. Dhirendra, Gaurav mentioned using a fixed deposit for his wife for that tax benefit. Would you say that's the best option? Would you recommend an ELSS perhaps if he's looking at buying a home for tax? Is there a better option there for him?
Yeah, all these options, ELSS, FD, fixed deposit or NSE, everything is valid till 31st March 2012, and after that everything changes. And beyond that, your tax saving investment, all options available is primarily retirement oriented. You can't take it out till you turn 58 or 60. So from that standpoint, I think it's important that we don't have a disciplined allocation going for retirement savings or for pensions, and it will be useful for most people to have the warming up to the DTC and start your NPS account, and you'll start getting that advantage. Of course, the disadvantage is that it will not be an accumulation you can lay your hands on anytime in between.
The new pension scheme is the best option for you, as Dhirendra was saying. Also, Gaurav mentioned a fixed deposit, one of the two, instead of buying a home. Adil, the other question is, he bought the first home on a loan on only his name. Is it possible to either refinance it and make that a joint loan? Can he do something like that and maybe share the tax benefit instead?
Okay, so his situation has a couple of issues because of which he needs to get expert tax advice. So one is, like Gaurav said, that how much money is his wife making. But in principle, a joint home loan, both co-applicants can avail of the tax rebate in principle. His situation is also complicated because he has an existing loan on which he's taking the tax benefit, and now he's opening up a second loan. So this definitely needs a tax advisor to sit down with him. Now, his existing loan, the contract is signed. The bank will not let him add a co-applicant so that his wife can avail of the tax rebate. But if he chooses to refinance, when you refinance, the contract is drawn up again, and at that point in time, you can add a co-applicant. So if he was to do a new loan, at that point in time, they could be co-applicants, and in theory, right, they could both avail of the tax rebate that goes.
But is that worth it?
My only problem is joint applicants should also have to be joint owners of the house.
Correct.
If the house is bought only in his name, then he can't go and add his wife's name, because then you are talking about stamp duty registration and the entire separate transaction. So I don't think that option is available at all. So from loan perspective and refinancing, and what he said is absolutely right, but from stamp duty registration, adding a name is ruled out. Or
and
it's a very or otherwise it's a very expensive proposition.
So we've run out of time on this show, but this is what we've learned. First of all, bucket everything. Start with your investments. Don't just liquidate investments to make the other one work. Remember, equity at this point, don't panic about equity. Don't pull out your equity. It's a bad time to be pulling out of equity because you'll be walking away with less than what you invested to begin with. When you're looking at your loans, bucket them as well. Remember, credit card, then personal loans, then auto loans, and then home loans, credit card being the most expensive. So keep that to the minimum. Make sure that you don't have any money outstanding on your credit card right now. That's the most expensive loan that you have to pay. Consider extending the EMI and extending the tenure of your home loan before you panic about meeting those expenses. And like Gaurav was telling us, in this high inflation regime as well, bucket your expenses and see where you can cut down and cut corners to meet the EMIs that you have to pay through the month. All right, wrap on this show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and answering our questions. Virendra, thank you so much for joining us in our Delhi office as well. Email IDs at the bottom of your screen. You can write to us if you have any questions about what you heard on the show and reach us on Facebook. Thanks for watching Investors Guide.